My reflection for today is on hope through Abraham, father of the Jewish nation. The world looks a little different this year, and yet our deepest needs remain the same for hope, peace, joy, and love. Can we find these even in the midst of fear, uncertainty, isolation, and crisis? And can we find someone who will journey with us through these dark times? The story of Abraham is all about hope and keeping promises. Abraham was no stranger to trouble. In Genesis chapter 15, verses 1 to 6, we hear that following a battle to save Lot and his family from the enemies of the king of Sodom, Abraham had a vision in which God told him that he would have more descendants than there were stars in the sky. There was, of course, one problem. He had no son. But God assured him that he would have a son and heir, and Abraham put his faith in God, although he was about 85 years old. In Genesis chapter 21, we read that when Abraham was 100 and Sarah 91 years old, Isaac was born. So his wait was finally over, and God's promise was fulfilled. Joy all round. But then we come to Genesis chapter 22. In verse 1 we read, "Sometime later God tested Abraham." And in verse 2, "Then God said, 'Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go into the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain that I will show you.'" This is possibly one of the most devastating verses in the Bible. Why would God test Abraham like this? After all, wasn't Isaac the long-promised child, the miracle child, the beloved child? And now he was going to be the sacrificial child? What was Abraham to do? Surely he was going to at least question God. God, are you sure you want me to sacrifice him? Did I hear it correctly? How would you fulfill your promise through Isaac if he's dead? But no, he rose up and obeyed. He didn't wait, he didn't doubt. The command was clear. Even though he didn't know why God was asking him to do it, the command itself was clear. He still chose to believe in hope. No matter how dark the day had become, he had faith in God. As Abraham was preparing the fire for the sacrifice, Isaac asked his father, "The fire and wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham answered, "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." Did Abraham keep hoping right up to the point of raising his knife to slay his son? Yes, he did. And was that hope justified? Yes, it was. And in the thicket, God did indeed provide a sacrifice. And did God keep his promise? Yes, as he always does. Through the prophets, God promised his people that he would send his Messiah. And finally, on that first Christmas, God's promise was fulfilled with the birth of the long-promised child, the miracle child, the beloved child. But unlike Isaac, Jesus was the child to be sacrificed. There would be no saving Jesus at the very last moment. There would be no substitute this time. If you want to imagine what God's gift to us on the first Christmas really meant to God, consider how hard it must have been for Abraham even to contemplate sacrificing his son, and multiply it many times. So the story of Abraham and Isaac directs us to John chapter 3, verse 16. "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life." God allowed his beloved Son to be sacrificed for us. And because of this sacrifice, we can share his gifts of hope, peace, joy, and love this Advent.